Hey guys! Hey, good morning to all of you guys. So, thank you for joining the Online Asian Symposium on Zoonosis and Public Health Day 2. So, before we start, I want to remind all the participants to mute their mic and turn off their camera to avoid all the things that we don't want during the presentation. And also to those who want to ask questions, please write it in the chat and live chat on YouTube, and they will be answered after the presentation. And the OC will give the attendance code at the end of the lecture, so participants please be focused with the lecture only. Presentation from Indonesia with the topic Wildlife Zoonosis and Management Effort in Indonesia and Asia. Salsa, the time and place is yours. Salsa. Wait, I think she's having a trouble. Today, very beautiful woman. Wait for a minute, okay, guys. The moderator is having a technical issue. To Honorable Dr. Ligaya, you can present your presentation right now.
Hello, I cannot hear you. Salsa, saya tidak bisa dengar ya.
Hello, doctor. You can share the screen now.
Hello.
Okay, hello.
Oh, I can yeah, okay. I can share my screen.
Yes, you can, doctor.
Okay, so can I start now?
Yes, doctor, please start.
Okay. Thank you, Salsa. I didn't hear what you introduced about me, but hello,
Okay.
everybody.
I'm so
Hello,
sorry, doctor, we have connection issue.
Excuse me? Yeah, no, I can hear you.
Okay.
Everybody can hear me, hopefully.
Yes, it is clear right now, doctor.
Okay. So, yeah, good morning, everybody. Selamat pagi or good morning from Indonesia. Hello. So I have a chance, an opportunity, actually an honor that I can share some of my experience to all of you about this, how to manage wildlife actually for zoonosis management effort. The example is in Indonesia, but Indonesia is part of Asia, isn't it? So actually, this is what we are going. I'm going to tell you about how the way we do it here. Hopefully, it also can be mimicked by the other country if it is really work for the program. Okay, so my presentation topics will not set a lot of data, but just experiences and also sometimes I think that's also some of your review from your school, yeah, from the vet school. But I believe that whatever that we learn, it is really important that we really know about it because when like now we are in the situation that COVID-19 came and then it became a pandemic, so everybody need to stay home, so we know the effect of the disease. So that's that we have to again start to learn again how to deal with the disease, but also we have to learn also how to prevent for next time. Maybe there's another disease will come. Okay, so I just will talk a little bit about what is zoonosis, even though you know already, but it's good to just remind it. Yeah, the type of zoonosis disease and animal, and then how it transmit, and then also okay. How is zoonosis in Indonesia, but I think it's almost this, not almost the same, but the data I can show a little bit from Wahis later on. And then this is actually the thing that I want to share to you all, how we manage wildlife zoonosis. Then we know the informations now, and the program will be the big word that everybody already know. Yeah, that is about the One Health. Apparently, that is a very, very potential or potent word that we have to understand. Okay, next. Why it stopped? Okay. So talking about what is zoonosis, everybody know. I'm sure you better know. You study about that. It's any disease or infection that is naturally transmissible from vertebrate animals to humans. Yeah, or we know now that human also as well can transmit some diseases to the animals. See, that's why that's the part that really difficult to uh, control it. Yeah, I mean, like to manage if the virus or whatever agent that caused the disease will always have around us. And then it's also a fact that animal play an essential role in maintaining zoonosis infection in nature. See, that's why wildlife or wild animal, the part that we have to also really study hard. Zoonosis can be caused by a lot of agents, can be from bacterial, viral, parasitic, or sometimes it's not because of a microorganism, but other unconventional agents that really can also lead to that zoonosis thing. So you can read all the diseases. I think I put some a pointer here to help also myself. Gosh, where's the color? Okay, that. Yeah, so this is all the diseases that we already know. Well, in the school we have to learn a lot about that. What is the agent? How does it transmit? How we have to solve it? So we know about that. But now we know that just nowadays SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19 is around. And data also show that zoonosis now, this is actually late data, but it was already 1,407 pathogen that already uh, reported in human, which 58 out of it are zoonosis. And from the zoonosis, it was uh, proves that the the diseases are new, that 70% of those zoonosis. So really we have to think, we have to learn a lot about this, how to maintain the health of everybody. I mean, like people, animal. And then it found in many type of animal, because and then sometimes it has a high diversity of malignancy or pathogenicity. And then the transmission is also really dynamics, not always in one way. Difficult to predict change in disease incidence. So this is the challenge for us, especially for veterinarian. This is also, I got it from OIA, even though it is long record, but it's still just start. I mean, like this is the evidence that zoonosis is around. So 60%, yeah, existing in human are zoonotic, and then at least 75, like earlier I said, that's a new, yeah. So that is like 335 emerging infectious diseases. So new diseases just come between 1940 and 2004. Now it's already 16 more years. So who knows, yeah, what kind of, but we know coronavirus is the one that hitting us. And then we also know also that in the human disease, every year, three are animal origin, and 80% of agent potential bioterrorist use oil. See, this is also the part that really scare us sometimes, yeah, bioterrorist thing. So in this zoonosis, we know that that must be a disease, infectious for sure, but we have to know also what we call emerging disease. So we know emerging disease is new infection disease caused by existing pathology, yeah, pathogen changes, or can also parasite that also already distribute, yeah, but it's changed, yeah, their pathogenicity or strain, and then return to early disease, yeah, but it's not identified at this time. So we thought that that's a new one. And then there are also some diseases that it occurred long time ago, stop, and come again. That we call re-emerging diseases. So diseases that have, in this case, transmit other different hosts or really increase in prevalence, yeah, number of individual or percentage infected population in certain time. So with knowing this, yeah, in back of our mind as a veterinarian, so we really need to understand what are those diseases are. So for the disease, what actually triggered it is emerging or re-emerging? Actually, if we look at this graph, yeah, the picture, we know that three components that always we have to take a consideration. I mean, like the population that actually affected by the disease. They are human, also domestic animals, and also wild animals. So all of us sometimes stay close each other, even though in the that's a local state, but we also know that's a regional state. There's also global state, but with the technology, yeah, now we know that it's so easy. Like you will fly from one part of the country in Asia, say it from Indonesia, go to Thailand, from Thailand go to Europe to America. It's so easy. So that's actually increase the risk of the transmission of diseases. So if we look at this, it's so beautiful, yeah, like a flower, but inside is really thing that we have to think really hard because this is a challenge. Like in human emerging infectious diseases, like I said, global traveling, urbanization, biomedical manipulation. Yeah, sometimes we forgot that we have some antibiotic, but we didn't use it. Don't use it in the correct way. So some of the uh, organism can be get resistant, and it will kind of start emerge again. Now, so but human, and this is also the part that can interact or there's an interface with the wild animal. Why? Because the encroachment, exit to contact, then again manipulation occurred here between or among the wildlife itself. Translocation, because talking about wildlife, it is a little bit what do you call that? I mean, like we have to know. Talking about wildlife, I work with them, but most of the time I work with the animal that are in the confiscated area, which is in the zoo. But we know that while animal, actually their habitat is in the forest or in the jungle. So that's the part that actually a little bit difficult for us, especially for a vet, to uh, to control. I mean, like to do all the medical uh, what medical work in the animal, wild animal in the jungle. But translocation, so we move the animal from one part to another part in the jungle, it also can be a risk of transmission or triggering for diseases, certain disease to come. So look at the domestic animals, yeah, almost the same. Agricultural intensification can cause it, and also it also has a interface also between domestic and wildlife. So, well, if in the wild there is some risk that the animal have some disease that they'll bring, I mean, see, this is the thing. Sometimes they just what the factor, so they still healthy, but they carry, yeah, as a carrier of the disease, and then they go. Especially, a lot of study if you can read about bat, yeah, bat can fly. So it's easy to bring all those viruses with the bats. So that's why the word spill over or spill back. Yeah, I mean, like the infection can be back and forward between wildlife and domestic animal. And then technology, industrial also can uh, influence the triggering factor for from domestic uh, to human. Okay, if that the triggering factor, so we set the factor that spread the disease. When we study, I don't know. I mean, like that's the way I study in the faculty in school. So every time we have to remember about three things. First is the agent. So agent is the cause of the disease, and then it has a lot of things that we have to think about the agent: infectivity, pathogenicity, virulence, immunogenicity, antigenic stability, survival. About it, this is a part that I don't want to describe about this. You can study it because there's in your book everything. Then the agent, after that the host, because the host is the one that will suffer from the disease that they will get, but not all of them, because some of them, the host also can be a carrier. That's what we have to remember. So this is a part that we have to know about the host: age, gender, genotype, behavior, nutrition, say health status, and then also environment. Environment is also very, very important. Yeah, because like weather, if the animal need to be housing like in a zoo, and then also the geographic, where's the animals at, and then also occupational setting for the people, air quality, feed, yeah, all the food that we will give to the animal. This is all the thing that we have to really know if we want to talk about how diseases transmit. So this is I found a diagram. This is from the PPT of Dr. Lipileka Panaik. Yeah, maybe a student from India know about them. I don't know them. I just opened the Google. Then I got this. I think this is good. I borrow one of some of their PPT. So we can see here those three factors. Yeah, animal, human is a host sometimes, environment, and then also some of the agent. So the agent can come from the factors, yeah. So because of the intensive farming, everything factors can come to the food production. So it goes to that is about the feed, animal, and also sometimes antibiotic. Also, it's not really agent, I mean like microorganism, but because of misuse of antibiotic, well, the result of it make the human or the animal will be so susceptible, yeah, to the because the the micro organism itself is resistant already, so they can stay much longer in the human or animal body. And then the environment, all those words you can read, yeah. And then human, also the population growth. So talking about density, we know that's a little bit difficult to control a country with a lot of people, especially with this virus that is going on now, that the transmission due to particle that come out from the body of the people, maybe the droplets. So that's also part of thing that we have to put in consideration. So this is the part that zoonosis can play a role. Yeah, so animals, human or the animal too. So when I study about the health management of wildlife, so we learn about how to manage the health for them in the normal time. So just keep them healthy all the time, or we have to manage them too if the situation is not normal. So even for the normal ones, still for us as medical people, especially becoming a veterinarian later on, we have to know about how to prevent or control, yeah, the disease, so the animal will still healthy. For those two words, seems like easy, but it's not really easy because a lot of work that we have to do, and that's also need a strong willingness to really want to do this, because we need to do the observation, examination, treatment. I mean, like a good treatment, not only treat the animal, and then maintenance of treatment or maintenance on the maintenance, meaning that the husbandry the animal, even though we don't really do it, but we have to know about the best practice for husbandry management too. Then we have to also think about the pregnant animal and also the birth of animal. So all the health of the animals, especially wildlife, we can manage. So I just remind you, zoonosis disease definitely is infectious disease, but not all infectious disease is always zoonosis disease. Yeah, but it is infectious. But infectious between whom? Between the animal, between the human, but not really uh, interface between the animal and the human. So if you open, yeah, from Google or about, we have this from OIE, some of information, yeah, like books, guidance, even for aquatic or for domestic wildlife and human. So it is good if you want to open and read it. So what animal can transmit zoonosis, zoonotic disease? Ooh, a lot of them apparently. Depend on the way in Indonesia, the way we learn and study in vet school, we divided. I mean, like we group the animal like livestock. It's like cow, goat, sheep, pig, poultry, chicken, turkey, or duck. And then we have pet animals. Actually, it's more a companion animal, dog, cat. Now it's come exotic animal too. Wow, what is this? Okay, sorry. Wild animals? Talking about wild animals, there are a lot. You know, we have to talk about five classification, five the taxa of the wild animals. There's so many of them. Yeah. So welcome if you want to really work with the wild animal, because we know we have to learn about mammals, primates. No, actually, primates also mammals. Yeah, mammals, avian, reptiles, fish, amphibian. Yeah, so that's the part that, but primates also, why we put primate, even though that's in mammal classification, primate is just very close with us. Yeah, we are non-human primate. They are primates, so we have to really know about them. Oh gosh, what is going next? Okay. Now, in pet animal and livestock, there are some diseases that we can found. I believe you know about those diseases already. It is really fun if we have to talk about those diseases one by one, but I don't going to do this now. Like rabies, roundworm, ringworm, cat scratch diseases, we know about that. And then from livestock, yeah, salmonellosis, E. coli, brucellosis, we can found that. Yeah, we have to know that that's a zoonosis disease. And then for wild animals, sure, if from the bird, the psittacosis, they have West Nile viruses, Eastern equine encephalitis, avian influenza. This is also a big part for several years ago. In reptile, fish, amphibian, we can find salmonellosis, mycobacterium. And then in other wildlife, like hantavirus, plague, tularemia, Lyme diseases. You know, this is all the name. I mean, like you familiar, I guess, yeah, with those names. But see, those are the zoonosis that we have to know, yeah. No, yeah, for sure, this is transmission from animal to human of animal. Why? Because of there's a direct contact. This is the part that I mean, like this direct. So every day, animals scratch or bite, and then they drop feces, urine. Then sometimes all those contaminants are in there, and then it come to the human. For animal products too, like the carcass. Yeah, if we don't transport animal products carefully, so it will give you some problem. Contaminated meat, milk and milking process. I mean, like all of them really. The word for this actually we have to really understand about biosafety and biosecurity system. Yeah, contaminated soil also can be one part of how the disease can transmit it to human. This happen especially if there are increase in like likelihood of interaction between human and animals. Why? Because yeah, human really needs some of us need to eat animal protein. I know some of you vegan or vegetarian, but maybe some of the vegetables too need to take care. I mean, like need to be treat the sanitation, the hygiene of that. So we are going not to get anything out of those uh, vegetables too. And then now trade livestock products globally can happen. Yeah, so it's more. I mean, like the area that the agent can travel is wider now. It's around the world. And then for the wild animal, reducing the habitat like degradation ecosystem, clear land of agriculture. So that's also make a problem. And then it makes also some actually not the wild animal that get out from the habitat, but if we want to admit that actually people that get into the habitat of the uh, wild animal. So this is some of example that I can found out. Yeah, I think you can also tell story about how the way people in your country, also eat some of the wildlife, uh, animal as a food. Yeah, I have to tell like one of the picture here. This is one. Yeah, I think this is bats. This is from North Sulawesi. I mean, like my family come from this part, but oh, good that I don't eat them though. I eat chicken. So this is part that actually sell in the market. Yeah, and this is the big bag. Yeah. So those are I mean some people before that they did it. I mean they eat it a long time, but they just know it after an incident or outbreak came. Then they just know that, oh, apparently what we ate that make us sick. So see, there's the part that education about public health is really important here. Illegal logging, reduce wildlife habitat. I don't know where is that. I don't know whether one of you from Africa, because I thought that this badak may be in Africa. I don't know, but this is a really city. Then badak is there. I mean, like I'm sorry, badak, rhinoceros. And look at this. This is like elephant. Nowadays, I mean, like we heard a lot. Yeah, hear a lot that elephant die. We don't know why. Yeah, sometimes because of less food or their habitat is lessened. We don't know. We know, but we have to have a proof about that. And ecotourism, this is also part that really intriguing because this is the picture that we took. This is in Bali. Yeah, in Bali, there's some part that the macaque, this is fascicularis macaque, they just freely, yeah, live freely. I saw some also movie in the Nat Geo, like I think in India they have it, and in Japan they have it also. But the thing is, what I want to show that it's really have to be careful because look at this, the interaction is so close. Luckily that this lady not get bitten or scratched out of with this monkey, but because we know that this monkey has a risk to transmit rabies. We know about that. Okay, so that's the part that review all our knowledge about zoonosis shortly. But now we come into how to get information. Okay, so WAHIS, yeah, interface. I think you are already, hopefully you, all of you, the student already familiar with this because this is from the OIE homepage, OIE, yeah. And then there's a lot of information about diseases over there. So you have to diligently open and then play around and then look what happened in that uh, website. So this one. So if you open that in Wahis interface, you can choose, yeah, like region, single region. This morning I make it Asia. See, look at this. This is all the country that you can find out. Yeah, you just choose which you are come from. Yeah, like Thailand maybe, or Chinese Taipei, Hong Kong, and then you click of that. Like here, I go single country, Asia, Indonesia, and I try to find the information about zoonotic disease. But the thing is in human, yeah, because this is interface. Because actually, what we take care of the animal, but we have to know what is going on because of the zoonosis with the people, with the human. So this is the example for Indonesia. So the year also started 2005, I think, 2005. Then it's open to 2020 actually, but actually the data is not all in each year. But the thing is, what we need to understand too, the data that are in this information come from each country. So if the country didn't give any information to OIA, so no data. So see, that's also the problem about information, data collection, recording system. See, well, I can tell even though in the smaller group, it's not easy to do that. Like for instance, I have to record the pedigree of Sumatran tiger. It's only several zoos, but it's not really easy to get all the information from the zoo because the information that I need to get is really correct. And then how about this? This is all over the world. So, but that's just good. There is still some data that came from Indonesia. For instance, I just take one. The graph I did it myself, yeah. But the information, from all those information in here, I show the raw data after this. So with knowing this, we just know that, oh, okay, the anthrax in Indonesia, that is like 70. This is the cases, then this is the year. Oh, there are 70 cases in 2007, and then only like 5 died like that. So that's so quick. I mean, like we can see what is happening actually in certain country. Yeah, so those are the data that we can see. So I took all the data from Indonesia Wahis from 2005 and 2019. Those are only the diseases that come out from this information. Yeah, but sometimes they only put placid. So this is the data that they know, but they just know that there's an infection in Indonesia, but not really know how many of them. But like rabies, look at this. I don't know. This is, yeah, I didn't change anything. I'll just take it from the data. So this is, wow, 80,000. That's so many. I have to check also where is this cases for rabies so high, and also 2013. Yeah. Okay. So that's the way you get your data out of it. Yeah.
domestic. They can more again like a domestic.
Excuse me, is there anything? Okay, Salsa, I'm okay? Salsa?
Sir, you can
Okay,
continue.
okay. So this is about surveillance. So this is one system that really important for zoonosis disease. Why? Surveillance system is actually a monitoring activity that we have to do it continuously. So sometimes not all the country also want to put fund money or grant money for doing surveillance, because this is, should be, if my opinion, it come from the each country need to have some funding, so this surveillance of zoonosis diseases can go on all the time. Yeah, so from time to time, so we get all the data about the incidency, about where it come out. So we with those kind of data we can analyze, then we can really prevent about the occurring of the zoonosis disease. So uh, this is actually data that now need to be collected. So this can be as an information to decision making. What kind of step to take to prevent and control disease? Like we said, well, if you want to manage these diseases, you have to know how to prevent and how to control diseases. Okay, now we come to One Health in Indonesia. This is the example. Maybe I can talk a little bit faster because the time is running. One Health in Indonesia, we know One Health. Yeah, this is the part that actually now, oh gosh, that we have to think not only in one certain group, like, oh, this is human health, animal health, livestock health, wildlife health. No, we cannot do it. We have to think about everything, human, wildlife, domestic diseases in one mind, yeah, approaches, because that is the we call ecological health, yeah. Because why? Because all, now we have to have the synergy between the national, regional, global, because of all those parts that I talked already in. And Indonesia, all this part actually has their own minister who responsible for the health. So like in human, Ministry of Health, for the livestock, Ministry of Agriculture, and for the wildlife, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Actually, for the aquatic animal, we have another ministry also. So actually four, but until now, just these three ministry that work together in terms of making a project to create a One Health program to prevent zoonosis in Indonesia. The call, and then those all this ministry will work together with the coordinating ministry for human development and culture. So that's the system in Indonesia. Yeah. So what I'm going to tell is the work of the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Why? Because we are talking about wildlife. So we remember again, first, people only think important is public health. Yeah, so only whole human cases that important. And then from the agriculture thing, now livestock is important. So look at that. The cases can be high in livestock. Human is okay, maybe because, and then there's also a part that wildlife take a role also. Yeah. So if we only think about each of our group, so the public health or wildlife health, animal health, not to One Health, that's very, very dangerous, because we also know that transmission between species can happen. So if you know about that, yeah, and then during time and cases, you can see that. Then in this one is like how many, yeah, the cases can occur. Now, if we realize about that in terms of wild animal people, we said like, okay, now we have to work together with the livestock, the agricultural, and also with the what public in yeah health, yeah, I mean for the people. And then so our group said what we can do for this, yeah, benefit to public health with early detection. That's what we come out. What early detection of what is going on actually with the wildlife. Like mentioned it earlier, wildlife stay in habitat. We cannot tell, whoa, bats, you cannot come into the city or the urban area. You just stay in the habitat. They don't want to do that. I mean, they are free. And by doing that, they are free also to give or shed some diseases with the animal. Okay? So even though it has an outbreak, maybe we can control it because we know about that. And then because of that, maybe the spill over from the wildlife to the livestock is decreasing. So maybe the cases in livestock also can lower down. And then look at that. For the human is less down. So this is actually the ideal expectation about how we control the zoonosis, because zoonosis, yeah, the scary part if it's come to us, to human. Yeah. Okay, so for doing that, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry in Indonesia make an information system, because we believe that communication, coordination, information is very important. So we create what we call Sehat Satli. Yes, Sehat is health, Satli is the wild animal. So, but this is the information system. Let's look at that. Sorry, I didn't translate that because actually I used the slide from yeah, the first outer presenter that make this, yeah. So actually this in situ ex situ, maybe it's familiar with you. So actually what we use, actually now we use a phone, yeah, because of the era now with digital, we just SMS, and then we gave all the information from the field if there's some people in the field, but this is work in situ first. So actually this is also the training we have to do for the people who work in the habitat, and then need to be verified again with the doctor and then diagnosed thoroughly, and then we need to do the response, yeah, whether it's we need to treat or eradicate or whatever response that we need to do. Then with all those information that we have, we can evaluate for next time what should we do. Yeah, so this is the steps, you know, if there's an even text, and then go into data if it is really need to taken care of because of suspect diseases, follow up need to be followed. So all information for reporting now with the Ministry of Forestry, we already have it. We call Sehat Satli. Before, from the Ministry of Health, they already have it. We call Early Precaution and Response System, that is SKDR. And then from the culture, they have also Indonesian Animal Health Information System, ISIGNAS. Then all those data will be compiled by the Kemenko of PMK. So hopefully with those data, it's much easier for people, yeah, certain level, need to know if like this corona thing. So they already know, because know how to handle in the in what meaning that how the way that we can prevent. So because this is already pandemic, so it's a little bit difficult. We have to work on that. So that's the difficulty, because it's also include public to take a responsibility in this kind of program too. So I just summarize of my talk. Because we know zoonosis, we have to remember about emerging diseases and emerging diseases. Important to know type zoonosis, transmission, how we need to respond. Then this is the part that actually why we have to talk about this. Remember, wild animal, yeah, that is major reservoir for transmission of zoonotic agent. So I know some, I also, with some of my colleagues, do some research for this kind of project. And then surveillance is an important part. And then in our project, it will proven that public health to One Health approach through coordination and communication among stakeholders, hopefully it will help, even though now we cannot do anything just yet, but uh, some of other zoonosis diseases, hopefully we can still control. So this is again what skills that are needed for all of this. Look at these boxes: the infectious disease, public health, uh, international epidemiology. So those are all the courses that we have in curriculum. So please study it very well. Yeah. Okay. Now I think there's a 3.5 minute of video I will share you, because this is talking about biosecurity. So biosecurity is also one program that actually so important for us in this situation, because this situation is not normal anymore. Yeah, there's a pandemic, but this is what we need to know. So I need to leave this first, then I go to wait this one, and then wait.
To
Udah
all
terbuka belum ya?
participants, please turn off your microphone. To all participants, please turn off your microphone. Thank you. Hello, dokter.
Salsa bisa kelihatan?
Yeah, dokter. We can see you well.
Ah, okay. Yeah, please pay attention. This is wait. I think I have to start it from the beginning.
Dr. Ligaya,
Yeah.
we cannot watch the video yet. You haven't
Oh,
shared
okay.
screen yet. Yeah.
I haven't shared this yet. I'm sorry. Wait. So how the way I have to do it? Oh gosh. Don't. Okay, share first, and then open here, and then on, and then okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, dokter.
Okay, so actually this is the part that I just got it from 5 days, yes, this week, a training program from the Orangutan Veterinary Advisory Group. So this is really good. I think you need to know. So doing biosecurity, just cannot say, oh, I know about that, but you have to really think. So you have to prepare. Then the example here for primate, because primate is so close to us. So again, we have to know the chain of infection for respiratory pathogen, agent, source, people can be a source, how to transmit, that's how people, what they call that? If we breathe, all those particles that come out from our mouth, our breath. So we need to prevent transmission with breaking the chains. Yeah. So for this, we have to learn a lot. So how we have to keep the environment, hygiene, sanitation, even how to use PPE. We have to really learn how to do it correctly. Washing your hand, So with prepare, plan, system approach, understanding transmission, environment hygiene, staff hygiene practice, evaluate and update. We have to really know it and repeat it again all the time, you know? Look at them, so happy even though the corona are around. Okay. Uh-oh, how to make it? Okay, I will back to my presentation. Bentar ya, saya kok nggak ngerti ini. Wow. Oh, saya nggak bisa buka lagi, Sal.
Oke.
Sebentar. Stop sharing dulu ya. Baru ini. Oke, sebentar. Saya satu kali lagi, habis itu sudah ya, Sal. Sebentar, mana? Ya, saya tahu waktunya. Mana saya...
Is it okay, Dr. It's okay if there is a delay. We will inform our tech. Can you share the screen right now?
See, that's what I'm going to do, but I cannot. Oh, that is the screen. I'm sorry. Share content. My goodness, this is fun. Okay, so that has come into the last part of my talk, but still there's something that I have to. So with this biodiversity thing, yeah. So remember all those procedure, you know, with this COVID thing, you know, this is not playing, you know. I still look, a lot of people think this is, ignore them, this is not true, but actually this is really true, especially for us that really know what's the effect of getting all viruses or infections. I just got this picture this morning from one of my friends. Look at this. No, do you get it? I mean, like, if you don't use your mask, you know, this is all those stuff that come out from our mouth and somebody else, so we can see all the risks that we can get. If only one using, not too much, but not good. But if everybody use a mask, so those are the particles that will infect people. It will, I mean, like, the people will be protected about this. Well, please forget about that. No, remember about that. Don't forget about this. Okay, I thank International Veterinary Student Association to give me the opportunity. Then I also have to thank OVAC 2020 to permit me, because I already asked for this that video, but sorry, I cannot share it with you because it's attached with their website. And then also the Directorate Conservation, the Ministry of Environment, because I was the advisory for those projects. So I think I can use those data. And then also for my faculty of veterinary medicine that give me also the permission to do all those stuff. So I can get more experience and share it with all the students. So this is also the take-home message from us. This is good. Community health is the pivot of global health. Let us join our hand on creating an awareness to the individual, family, community through effective risk communication. So stay healthy, everybody. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Habis napasnya, dokter.
It is okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Everything to be fine. Okay,
so
yes. So we have a lot of questions from our participants.
You just choose.
Due to the time limit, we will choose several of them. Okay. The first question is from Anish Adhikari. Doctor, I would like to ask, what about the possible transmission of zoonotic diseases by the destruction of rainforests in Indonesia?
So, excuse me, I have to. So this is talking about the transmission in rainforest.
Of zoonotic diseases by
Yeah.
the destruction of rainforests.
Okay. Well, see, that's. I'm sorry. What's the name again? The one that question.
Ashish Adhikari.
Ashish. Okay,
Yes.
Ashish. Okay, Ashish. Hi. Nice question. Yeah, the destruction of forests really bad. You know about that because of the opening, meaning that the possibility of the animal get transmitted of disease is also higher. But by doing that, the animal itself maybe will walk out of the habitat, come closer to the village. So you can tell how the transmission can occur. Yeah. So see, that's my explanation. So not good. Hope you okay with the answer.
Yes. The summary is that we cannot give any okay condition towards the destruction of rainforest
No,
if it's in Indonesia. Okay.
it's really bad.
Next question. Okay, doctor. From
Mm-hmm.
Gadis Maroon, in some
Gaudi, okay.
Gadis, in some
Mm-hmm.
cases, bats can transmit so many viruses. What
Mm-hmm.
makes bats the perfect host for many viruses? And why bats don't get sick from the viruses they carry, but human can? Thank you.
Oh, okay. So see, that's also the part. It's amazing. Yeah. I, I I didn't get all of the question, but I'm thinking that the animal they get a lot of viruses, but they're still okay. Why? That's we always said that's the not miracle, but that's the greatness of the nature actually. Yeah. I mean, like if not, they already this extinct from long time. Yeah. See, that's the thing. So they really have a good immune system compared to us. So they just carry it and then they will transmit to human. Human are the one that really weak actually with the immune system. Especially if they said maybe you can ever heard that if you're too clean, you really live with the cleanliness, and then so your body do not have a chance to get what what do you call that?
Contact with
Yeah,
microbial
yeah,
agents.
contact with the microbial. So no
No,
antibody
I
will happen. So maybe that's why the wild animal or the animal are stronger than us.
Okay, doctor. Nice answers. So next is from Miss Mauri Pangestu.
Mauri
Doctor,
Pangestu.
what do you think about the wildlife animal that lately has been treated as pet, as they're still wild, but has been living together with human? Do you think they had a higher chance in transmitting zoonotic diseases?
Okay, there's 2 points. Good question. Yeah, me myself actually a little bit reluctant if people having wild animal with them. I work with wild animal, but I work with a wild animal in the zoo because I want to take care of their health. But the thing is, reluctant or not, it's also depend. Okay, if the animal get a good care of the people who take care of the animal regarding of that is okay or not having a wild animal with you, regardless, yeah. Uh, I think they will be okay too. I mean, like us. I mean, like because the animal already treat like part of the family. So I believe that the health also taken care by the owner. I mean, like they will bring it to the vet. Maybe they give a good husbandry also. So the animal will be strong enough to the disease that will come to them. But if something happened that the animal get transmitted with the diseases and then the animal got sick, well, probably, or maybe they don't get sick, but carry it. Yeah, the owner will get that. That's what I think just now.
Okay, doctor, thank you for your answer. I will choose one more question from the participant. Okay, there's so many of you guys. Okay, from Jasmine Safir.
Welcome, Mauri. Yeah.
Hello,
Jasmine?
doctor. I would like to ask, what do we supposed to do to engage stakeholder in different professions, including the government, to pay more attention on wildlife animal health issues, since it is believed to be less significant order than human health? Like, how can we engage government
I
to make
know. This is
wild
a
animal health
very
a
big,
serious
big
concern?
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the engagement of this part. But the thing is now, sometimes I think in Indonesia, I mean, like for the government ourselves, they already know a lot that they take really a good part. I would say. But the thing is, sometimes we still need by each group, you know. See, that's why the project that we make with One Health approaches, that's what make that all the people in the government will also take a part also for the wild animal, livestock, yeah, for sure for the human. So the engagement can be that part. So give them more knowledge, give them also more what awareness, and also each group need to show that we know how to work with that, and we know how to work together to reach the goal, which is, you know, healthy animal. I think that's the engagement we have to do. And also, yeah, public have to study, willing to know, and also take a part of how we take care of our own wild animal. Take care
Okay.
doesn't mean that we have to have it at home. Take care
Yeah.
by, you know, telling people, oh no, please let them stay at their habitat, you know. That's a big help. Or don't eat that animal, you know.
Okay. Okay. We
That's the
understand that.
campaign.
Thank you. Okay. So I think there's still time left. So one more question. Is it
Yeah,
okay? Okay.
it's okay. So I
From
just don't want to take the other person time.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
From Kinwo Kim.
Mm-hmm.
From Kinwo Kim.
Hmm. Yes, hi Kim.
Is there
What's the
anything?
question?
Is there anything clinical veterinarians should do to avoid getting zoonotic diseases in practice?
Okay. Well, I don't think we can do that. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, we know that. See, that's why we have to really know about how to treat animal who carry also, you know, zoonotic disease. Because even though it's zoonotic, I mean, we have a chance to get infected by the animal. But like the movie you said, the biosecurity thing, just the same like human. I mean, like that's the example. If the doctor said, "Oh, I don't want to take care of the corona patient," what will happen with those patients? So the answer is yes. We can. We still have to take care of the zoonotic uh, patient, but with an extra care for ourselves. Like do the biosecurity that I show you. You know, then we really know what to do. All those steps so can help the animal and also prevent infection to the other person or other animal.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ligaya, for the
Dr. Salsa.
beautiful fill us the power presentation. And there's a lot of questions. And thank you for the answers. Thank you for having for letting us do this event with you. So, because I don't have proper introduction in the beginning of you, I would like to repeat that again. So, as you know, Dr. Ligaya is a lecturer in IPB University, which stands for Bogor Agricultural University, and she teaches for undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate program and she lectures about reproduction science and technology, obstetrics and proficiency practice in animals, wild animals management, animal health and welfare assessment. She is specialized in biology, reproduction, and endocrinology, and wild animal health, and she is also expert in management of ex situ conservation agency. There's also publications that she made, which are echocardiography mode brightness of Sancha snakes, preliminary study, pear, clownfish, amphibian SP, spawning pattern in indoor rearing system. Bat coronavirus of Pteropus alecto from Gorontalo province in Indonesia under the International Journal of Tropical Veterinary and Biodiversity Research. Thank you for having us today. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you
Ligaya.
so much, Alsan, and thank you for
Yeah.
all that listened to me. I just wish the best of you becoming a very great, excellent veterinarian wherever you are.
Okay. So I would like to announce the code for the session. It is Y643KI. I would like to repeat it again. Y643KI. That's the code for the certification for the participant information. So the participant says they are gratitude for you and they are say thank you to you, Dr. Ligaya.
You're welcome. I already replied that also in my chat.
Okay. So the next session, we will be having the host from IVSA Korea to my friend Helen Hong. You can enter the stage right now. And this is, thank you, Dr. Ligaya. You can leave.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Hi guys, thank you. Thank you so much for Dr. Ligaya. That was a
You're
very
welcome.
valuable information for us. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah.
And before we continue to our second lecture, I want to remind all the participants to turn off their microphones and turn off their video camera. And please be patient about the attendance code. It will be given at the end of the lecture. Thank you. Helen, the time is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Helen, and we will be starting our session now. Thank you so much for IVSA Indonesia who has arranged this for today. Yep. Hello, my name is Helen, and I am currently working as a treasurer of IVSA South Korea. And before we start, I would like to thank all IVSA MOs of Asian region and IVSA Nepal for organizing this symposium. For the viewers joining us for the first time, this online symposium is organized by IVSA Asia, which consists of 16 lectures on various aspects of public health and zoonosis by renowned speakers. And we are currently at our second lecture of the morning session. When the presentations start, please put your microphone and video cameras turned off for those who are joining us through WebEx or WebEx. And if you have any questions regarding the lecture or the system itself, please leave them in the chat box and we will be answering them after the lectures. Also, for those who wish to receive the certificates afterwards, the lecture codes will be introduced during or after the session. Now I would like to introduce you our speaker, Professor and Dr. Desop Song. He is known as a specialist as well as highest authority on zoonosis in South Korea. He is currently a professor in College of Pharmacy at Korea University. He graduated Seoul National University as Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, and he is well renowned for developing world's first MERS diagnosis kit in 2015, which is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, using camel secretion, and have detected the existence of coronavirus among local bats' habitat. Furthermore, he even have found possible vaccine candidate of COVID-19 and is planning to go through clinical trials. and he is planning to tell us more about his plan with vaccine as well as some predictions of his opinion. So please welcome Professor Song.
포인터가 되나요?
포인터 있어요.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you for your nice introduction. Now I'll start my presentation titled Disease X and from Human-Animal Interface, the Unexpected Disease. Please, 송출되고 있는 거예요?
네. Share account. 그거.
Yeah, so I'll start my presentation from now. This is contents of this presentation. The first part will be described with the new emerging zoonotic viral disease and about the histories about virus disease. And the second part would be the continuous emergence of the disease X. And also today, I will focus the topic about the coronaviruses and influenza virus case. And also I will focus about the reverse zoonotic disease. And the final part will be focused about One Health and the future prediction after the COVID-19 outbreak. Before starting the main part of my presentation, although there is a brief introduction of mine by the moderator, I will briefly introduce for myself. Actually, I'm working at the College of Pharmacy, and in this College of Pharmacy, now my part is focused about the COVID-19 vaccine development. Actually, in these days, we made the COVID-19 candidate. Now we are trying to have a clinical trial as soon as possible. So maybe the end of this year, we will start the phase 1 clinical trial about COVID-19 vaccine. Actually, when I was at the College of Veterinary Medicine, my PhD thesis is about the alpha coronavirus from pigs. As you know, the PED virus was my topic of PhD. At the time, I developed the oral vaccine against the porcine epidemic diarrhea virus. And after that, I continued the research about the coronavirus for PED and some MERS virus. And now I'm working at the COVID-19 virus together. Also, the other part of my main research part is about influenza viruses. So my main topic is about interspecies transmission of the influenza virus and the development of diagnostic and the vaccine of the coronavirus together. So from now, I will start the main part of my presentation. The first part is about history of the viruses. As you know, the virus have a very long histories. As you see this evidence from the Google pictures, the part of the fifth, the very long years ago, the Egypt king had died with smallpox. You see these pictures. There is some evidence of the infections. You can find some smallpox regions in the bodies, in the face. So we can speculate that almost 5,000 years ago, there was a smallpox infection histories. Also the same period, the Egyptian preachers, when they have a religious ceremony, you can find a very typical, and you can find a very typical sign of a poliovirus infection. So there is a very thin rag. So as from these pictures, as from this evidence, we can easily speculate that the virus history was very long. And recently, comparatively recently, almost 200 years ago, almost 250 years ago, when the Louis Pasteur invented the first attenuated viral vaccine against rabies virus, the dogs infected with the rabies was a very, very horrible thing. So at the time, there was no information about the viruses. So against this rabid dog, the corps, the army were have some with the weapons. They have a with these pictures. We can see that it's a very horrible situation with these rabid dogs. As you see this uh, graph pictures before the 2000 years ago, periodically we have faced many cases of viral infections. So almost of that was focused with the influenza virus infections. As you know, where the Spanish flu resulted in the massive casualty and massive infection in the world, whole of the world. And 20 or 30 years intervals, there is some repeated infection outbreak of influenza viruses outbreak. And also sometimes Ebola virus and the HIV was also outbreak before the 2000. However, after the 2000, after the new millennium, we have faced it so many new viral emerging infections. For example, the traditional influenza virus was also emerged, and the very new virus. For example, at the year of 2002, we faced the SARS and the MERS, and recently we faced the third very serious problem from the coronavirus, the COVID-19. The virus name is SARS-CoV-2, is the most difficult virus infections until now. So now the most important thing, there are so many cases and every day new cases are found, but the most important thing is that the fact this is not the peak yet. So we are very worried about these cases. So after when we get the special treatment like Tamiflu against influenza or the effective vaccines, we should have we should be very careful with social distancing and the hand washing, something like that. But before starting the main part of my presentation, I want to focus the fact about that. Actually, the veterinarian, in the field of veterinary medicine, actually we have many experience against the coronavirus compared with the human medicine part. So because we have many experience about the coronavirus for the pigs and the chickens and the swine, the bovine and the companion animal, dog and cats. So we can have many evidence, we can have many experience about the coronavirus. So compared with the human medicine part, we can have many advantages to develop the take measures against the coronavirus. So the main topic in this slide, I want to emphasize that you will be the very specialist about the coronavirus, because in this veterinary medicine, we have many experience about that. So I will describe about this in the latter part of this slide. So also another thing, I want to ask you, the audience, please remember only three words in this slide from my speaking. The first thing is disease X. From the 2018, the WHO listed one more thing, the name of disease X like this. Every year, the 2-year or 3-year intervals, the WHO have a declaration about the very important viral or the bacterial disease that could be the reason of the end day of the Earth. For example, Crimean Congo and Ebola and Lassa fever and MERS and Nipah and the Rift Valley fever and Zika. But At the time of this declaration, I was very shocked. The name of digit X was added as a new source of the zoonotic, and that could be the emergency situation. The digit X, the word X represent the unexpected. So actually, this COVID-19 situation is the first example of the digit X. Actually, do you know about the fact that actually the 2019 September, WHO have a declaration, one more thing about the first digit X would be the RNA virus, and that they can be from the wild animal, and that they can be the source of the pneumonia. Just before the 3 months before the new emergence of COVID-19. So, but although we have some prediction about that, we don't have good countermeasures against coronavirus COVID-19. So, actually, I can easily have a expectation the new another things named digit X could be have an emergence again. Absolutely. So because of this situation, we should have a good countermeasure plan for the next digit X situation. So also we can have an example about the digit X situation like African swine fever virus. But although the African swine fever is not the zoonotic disease, but the African swine fever is a very, very horrible, very, very difficult disease to have countermeasures. So, because actually, for example, African swine fever is just endemic disease in some part of the Africa, but recently this virus is very, very widespread to the China and some many Asian countries, and also including some European countries. So I can say that this kind of disease X will be repeated absolutely. So we should have a very good countermeasure plan against this kind of disease X. So please assume that who did cross the line? Do you understand this sentence? Who did cross the line? Actually, I have a very good books. My favorite book about this topic. Do you know the book titled with the Spillover that is written by David Quammen? That is actually my Bible books for the my undergraduate student lectures. He emphasized that the main reason is not the wildlife animals. The main reason is by the human, because we continuously cross the line, and we have a destruction of the ecosystem. So that is the main reason of this new emerging viral disease. For example, the total population of the whole globe is over 7 billions. So this is the reason why we have many massive destruction of the environment of the globe. So this is the fundamental reason of this repeated emergence of new viral disease from the wildlife animals. So this is a picture from the South Morning China Post. This is a real picture from the market. This is the real example of the wet market. Do you know about the meaning of the wet market? This is a real market that have exchange from the real life wildlife animals. So you can see the many species of the wildlife animals. So this is the fundamental causes of that is very near of the interface. Do you understand the human and animal interface? Because if we have a long distance of a human and animal interface, the possibility of a new spillover infection from the wildlife animal is lower and lower. But if we have a very near distance, for example, this kind of market, the possibility of a new emerging disease is higher and higher. Please understand this situation. So the second thing, because I want to remember of the whole audience, the second thing adding of the disease axis is the second thing is human and animal interface. So if we broaden and if we make it longer, the distance of the human and animal interface, the possibility of the new emerging disease is lower. So please understand about that. And also I want to share these pictures. This picture is of mine. The copyright is mine. I took these pictures almost 6 years ago from some South Asian country. This is a live poultry market. This is a live poultry market that have many live poultry. And I was shocked of these pictures because this is a pregnant woman. So if we have this kind of a very near human and animal interface, the possibility is higher and higher. So please keeping that the fact, we should try our best to have a long distance from the human and animal interface. So animal and human contactability or human and animal interface, because of many viruses can be transmitted to human, not by the directly, but with the median host that can be transmitted from the that can be infected with the virus, and they can transmit to the humans. So, for example, the SARS from the 2002, the civet cat was the another transmitting host like that. So now I want to emphasize one more time. We should have a long distance between the human and animal interface. From the history of the new zoonotic disease, there are so many cases like this. So summarized from the recently from scientific reports journals, you can find many examples. For example, Ebola virus from the chimpanzees and rabies from the pox and the bats. Actually, the former presenter, the Indonesian professor, emphasized about the importance of the bat. The bat is really the real source of the new emerging viruses. So there are so many species of the animals that can be transmit the virus or the bacteria or even the parasite to the humans. So we can summarize this kind of infections. We call it interspecies transmission. So please remember the word interspecies transmission. So please assume that the recent outbreak of new emerging viral disease almost is interspecies transmissions. The first pandemic situation, can you know the first pandemic situation at the 21st century? At the 2009, we have experienced about pandemic H1N1 influenza virus from the swine. So that is also one of the interspecies transmission. And SARS is also interspecies transmission. MERS is also one of the interspecies transmission. So we should take a focus on the interspecies transmission case, and we should follow which route would be the best route to have a transmission from animal to human. So if we know that, we can block the transmission of the virus. So that's a very important point. So from now, I will start about the coronavirus and origin and dynamics. 지금까지 몇 분 했어요? 28분이나 했어요? 네. 20분 했어요. Okay. Yeah. And as you see, this is the coronavirus structures. This spike is the most important thing that can be have a binding with the host receptors, and coronavirus can be divided into alpha, beta, and gamma, delta coronavirus. The alpha and beta is mainly circulated in the mammary species, and the gamma and delta from the avian species. But there is some exceptions like a delta coronavirus from the pigs. So I want to emphasize that what's the main characteristic of the coronavirus? The first thing, almost every species have its own coronaviruses. And second is the target site of the replication is not restricted. For example, did you have a lecture from your undergraduate course from the biology and microbiology? You have many lessons from the class. For example, for swine, the PED or the TGE, the porcine epidemic diarrhea virus is a target of the enteric disease. However, for example, PRCV, porcine respiratory coronavirus, can infect the lung. So that's why the coronavirus is so difficult. Some virus can attack the enteric organ, but some viruses can attack the lung, respiratory system. So I want to summarize that the reason why we cannot have a good countermeasures of coronavirus is the first reason is so many species have so various coronavirus of its own. Even though the dogs or cat have its own coronavirus. And also the second thing is that target site is very various. Sometimes the infectious bronchitis virus from the chicken can infect even the kidney. So that's why the coronavirus is so difficult. And the coronavirus have a very long history. So long years ago, also there is some document and some result about some this circulation between the bats and the human and so many animals, and also the beta coronavirus is the main sources of this kind of interspecies transmissions. So there is some record about the BC 8100. There is some report about this circulation of the viruses. So as I mentioned, the birds, human, and dogs, and cat, and bat, and also mouse, and pigs, and cat, and even the camel. So the broad host diversity of the coronavirus make the coronavirus is much more difficult to have countermeasures. And actually, the first time, the coronavirus is very famous because it is just an animal disease. It's just an animal disease. But at the 1960s, the first coronavirus in human was discovered. But at the time, the human was not shocked with this emergence of this virus because until now, before the SARS outbreak, the coronavirus is considered as just a common cold agent. So we don't have any fear against that. But the first time, the very, very severe disease of coronavirus was SARS. And after that, the MERS is the second disease that have a severe result. And finally, we can find that COVID-19. The COVID-19 is the third serious coronavirus disease that can result in the casualty in human. So also with this characteristic, coronavirus is one of the typical example of a One Health concept. So the third keyword of my presentation is One Health. So do you know the definition of the One Health medicine? I want to ask you, so please, if you are a student from the veterinary school, you should keep that the meaning of the One Health. One Health is the human health and the animal health and the health of the environment is closely related. So that's the main idea of the One Health concept. So with the influenza virus infection, the coronavirus infection is the very, very typical example of a One Health concept. So as I summarized, there is a totally 7 human coronavirus infections, but this kind of viruses have a very mild and one of the causes of a common cold, but the SARS and the MERS and the SARS-CoV-2, named COVID-19, is a very, very serious disease they can have a death of the humans. So please please see this movie file. That is a typical cytopathic effect after the infection of a coronavirus in the rhesus monkey kidney cells. So can I repeat one more time? Yeah. Please see, this is a normal cell, and with the 72 hours, we shortened the video into 20 seconds. They can have a modulation of the cell like this. The very, very typical cytopathic effect we call the syncytium in like this. So because of this kind of trends of the cell, they can induce the loss of function and some clinical sign and disease in the human organs. So please, for your better understanding, I added this kind of a short movie clips. And also, so from now, I will show some my real experiment and my real research topic about PED. As you see, PED is very familiar disease to the veterinary field. They can have dehydration in the very newborn pigs. This is one of the alpha coronavirus. The alpha corona and beta corona have a very, very similar structure. So this virus can infect the small intestine of the newborn pigs, and they can destruct the villi of the small intestine of the pigs. But almost 7 years ago, I found a very interesting virus like this. Do you remember that PED can have a replication to the target of the intestine? But 7 years ago, we found this very, very similar virus, the PED, but they have some deletion in the side of a spike protein. The spike protein have a very, very important determinant to have a host species specificity. Yeah. So you can say that. So what? What's the meaning of this situation? So please remember that the transmissible gastroenteritis virus and the porcine respiratory coronavirus, this is a very, very similar situation. The TGE have an intact spike gene like this, but the PRCV is a very brief deletion compared with the TGEV, but the result was very dramatic. With this deletion, the TGE have a very unique mutation that have a long host specificity. So because of this, but you know that almost 30 years ago, TG was very, very, very common disease that can have causes very economic losses. But with the PRCV spreading, the TG was case very, very decreased. Actually, the PRCV can impact the lung, but the pathogenicity is moderate or lower. So PRCV can have PRCV act as like some attenuated vaccine. So with PRCV, the case of TGEV were dramatically decreased. So PED also have a very similar case like this with my discoveries. So PED can have a mutation like that have some lung specificity. Also recently, 1 or 2 months ago, the Japanese group also reported the same viruses like our 7 years ago report. So please remember that, as I mentioned at the first time, coronavirus have a very various ability to impact the digestive system and respiratory respiratory system together. So the reason why we can have a good countermeasures against the coronavirus because it has a various characteristics. Also, the coronavirus from the avian species is also very important, but they can also have a host switchings from chicken to turkey. So please remember that. As I show as examples from the chicken and the pigs and some cases of human, the coronavirus have a very good ability to change their face. Please remember this situation. And the third is about COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. So I attached some brief table, have a comparison between SARS and MERS and COVID. And the fatality is very various, but the all these viruses are beta coronaviruses. So maybe I'm sure that another beta coronavirus can be have a new emergence. So we should have some notice about that. But comparing with the SARS and MERS case, what is the most important thing of most important characteristic of the COVID-19? Know that? If you know that, please have an answer directly now. If you know, the most important thing, most important characteristic of the COVID-19, they can have a infection without clinical signs. That's why we have so many cases over the 10 million people. So the infection with the new non-clinical sign and no clinic without clinical sign is a very, very rare cases. It's beyond our common sense. So the COVID-19 have a very, very unique progress. So when we have a infection with a clinical sign, we can also impact to the other people. So most important characteristic of the COVID-19 viruses. So another, I want to change the topic. Every genetic researchers want to have an emphasis, want to focus on the zoonotic disease, but we should take focus of a reverse zoonotic disease because human is very selfish creatures. Every time we have focused on the generic disease, but the reverse zoonotic disease also can be the reason of the new pandemic disease. So we should also focus on reverse zoonotic disease together. So from the wild animal and livestock and companion animal can have infection against a human. We call it zoonotic disease, but many another agent of a virus can have a reverse zoonotic disease. We called it another word anthroponotic disease. So we should focus the zoonotic and reverse zoonotic together. So because of the time limit, I will have some speedy progress. So because this kind of a zoonotic is a very well-known agent, so I will skip and another reverse zoonotic disease, the ringworms and the mumps and influenza virus could be the causative agent of the reverse zoonotic disease. So especially the flu virus could be the reverse zoonotic agent. As you know, the next slide is about another of my research topic. I have a discovery and I have a report at the first time in the world from the avian species to the companion animal dogs, the influenza virus. So every time I have a seminar and presentation about the interspecies transmission from the avian to dogs, every people have asked me, oh, is this a zoonotic possibility? Absolutely no. There is no possibility to transmit from the dogs to human. But after I have a publication and after I had a result about the result after the infection, artificial infection of a human seasonal influenza virus to the companion animal dogs, it is much severe. I mean, so the possibility of a zoonotic disease from the companion animal is very, very low. But the reverse zoonotic possibility from the human to animal is very high. So we should take focus on the some reverse zoonotic situation of the so many agents, including some bacteria and some parasite, and also some antibiotic resistant Staphylococcus aureus. And so the next part is about the flu viruses and interspecies transmission. Actually, I'm sorry. 시간 어떻게 되지? 아직 시간 좀 돼? 예. I just some interesting stories of my experience. You know that I started the virology study almost 22 years ago. At the 1998, at the time, the textbook of the virus tells us that the virus, influenza virus, can be divided only into A, B, C, type A, B, C. Also at the time, the cattle, the bovine, has a very, very low sensitivity against the influenza virus. So my teaching professor teach me like that. The bovine has no susceptibility to the influenza virus. Even though when we inoculate artificially the very high quantity of the highly pathogenic virus to the bovine, they don't have a clinical sign, they don't have a viral shedding, and they just have a seroconversion. However, 2013, the new influenza virus type D was reported. Strikingly, the type D is from the bovine. So now the textbook tells us that the influenza virus type could be categorized as a type A, B, C, D. So if I have one more opportunity to have a lecture to the IVSA, almost after 3 or 4 years later, there might be a E or F type of influenza. So that's why I want to emphasize on the dynamics, the very various phases of the influenza viruses. So this is a summary of the interspecies transmission of the flu viruses. So you please focus on that, this route from the wild aquatic birds to the dogs, the H3N2 is reported by me. Please remember this route. So actually, as I mentioned previously, we reported this avian origin canine flu virus was reported almost 11 years ago at the first time in the world. So this is another very good examples of interspecies transmission of the viruses. So also, as I mentioned, we also focused on the reverse zoonotic possibility because in cases of companion animals, we share the bedding site together with the companion animals. So if we got the seasonal flu, we should have a social distancing against the companion animals. That's very important. So this is my result of my reported about the dangerousness about the human seasonal flu against the dogs. Please focus on this result. Yeah. When we inoculate the human seasonal flu virus to the dogs with the pandemic H1N1, they can have a mild pneumonia. But the contact animal have no pneumonia signals. But when we inoculate the seasonal H3N2 human influenza dogs, they have a very, very severe pneumonia. Also, the contact animal have a very, very severe pneumonia. So that's why we should have a social distancing when we got the seasonal flu of mine. So that's one of my important messages. And 많이 만들었네 진짜. Almost the last part of my presentation. In addition to the reverse zoonotic possibility, we also take care of the wild petting zoo. So do you remember that at the early part of my presentation, I focused on the we should broaden the distance from the animal and human interface. But in these days in Korea, the petting zoo is increasing almost double during the 2 years. So if actually we don't have any legal background and there is no law about the regulating of this petting zoo. So there are so many animals that even the children can have a touch with like raccoon and wallaby and some very, very uh, interesting animals that can be have no contact with this normal situation. So we should also have some backup and some tracing of the some zoonotic or reverse zoonotic possibility from the wildlife animal cafe, the petting zoos. So because they can have interspecies transmission and also for the welfare of the wildlife animals, we should have very big notice about the petting zoo together. So yeah, from now I will summarize my today's lectures, and also I want to say about the what is post-corona ages. So what is the countermeasures for this kind of new emerging virus infectious disease? The answer is very simple. We should have a good diagnosis and good prevention as a vaccine and good treatment and antiviral. But the answer is very simple. The way to make this is very, very important, almost impossible. Because do you know the reason why? Because the target is so many. So almost people can infected with almost 1 million viruses. So it is impossible to make to every diagnosis, vaccine, and antiviral. So we should have a good choice. And so with the background, with the massive pre-screening and massive tracing and massive surveillance, so we should have some good prediction, and we should have a good platform technology to make good diagnostic systems, good vaccine system, and good antiviral development systems. So as you see, as you know where, almost only from the total viral disease, the 60% is zoonotic viruses. However, in these days, in the 20 years, recent 20 years, the new emerging disease, almost 80% is zoonotic disease. So that's why we should prepare the good countermeasures against emerging zoonotic disease. For example, until now, from the new millennium 2002 until now, as I remember, every new emerging disease was zoonotic, except just two viral diseases. What is the exceptions? What is the exceptions? What is the exceptions? The foot and mouth disease and the African swine fever were the exceptions. So except of these two viral diseases, every new emerging viral disease were zoonotic. So that's why we should have a preparation, good countermeasures against zoonotic disease. So that's why I want to emphasize one more time the One Health concept, the human and animal and the environment connected very, very tightly. Actually, when I was working at the government-funded research institute 10 years ago, at the time, some people said that because I'm a specialist of the animal viruses, they do not believe that you cannot have a good research about the human viral disease at the time. But now the situation is totally changed because every serious viral disease from the animals. So that's why we should have a focus on the One Health concept. So if we have a good countermeasure, if we don't have a countermeasures, the time course, the cost of the control outbreak is increased dramatically. So that's why we should have a good detection systems against the zoonotic viral disease. And also, that's why I repeatedly have an emphasis of the One Health concept. Animal, human, and environment is linked tightly. And the post-corona, now I will complete within 5 minutes. Actually, do you know the SAD virus, SAD virus? Almost 2 years ago of the COVID-19 outbreak, we have noticed that the veterinarian know that the SAD virus, severe acute diarrhea virus, that is outbreak in the southern part of the China. This virus is a beta coronavirus, and this virus have no disease to the bat, but this virus transmit to the pigs. So this infection causes almost a big casualty to the piglets. At the time, the beta coronavirus from the bat transmit to the swine, and swine have a very big outbreak of diarrhea. So at the time, we have some signal of the new emergence of beta coronavirus. Also at the time, simultaneously, we trace some record about the report about the new beta coronaviruses. There have been so many reports about the very similar to COVID-19. So I think with this history, we should take our lessons because the new coronavirus emergence will be repeated. So we should keep in mind this kind of evidence. With this evidence, we should prepare about the next pandemic. So as a final message of mine, do you know Yuval Harari? The Yuval Noah Harari in the Homo Deus, the very famous writers. But in the Homo Deus, he have expectation like that. There is no more infectious disease that can have endangered humankind. But however, at the time, I have a big objection in the Facebook because although there is written in Korean, but the main idea of my this is my face, my message. Although the Yuval Harari is a very good writer, but in terms of this sentence, I seriously dare to disagree with this opinion presented by the scholar. But as a conclusion, I was right. Can you agree with me? Yeah, I was right because Yuval Harari was the prediction was no. So that's why I want to emphasize that the next another new emerging disease would be endangered continuously. So please keep that in mind on. Please keep this in mind. Also, as a final remark, because we are the animal specialist and the animal disease specialist, so the veterinarian can have a great help to the human mankind in terms of animal disease. Because, as I mentioned, although with some exceptions, all the disease from the animals. So please keep this fact in mind. So please prepare and please help to the human mankind to prepare the good countermeasures against the new emerging disease. And final prediction of the COVID-19. Many opinion readers have many prediction, but as a summary, it might not be until 2021 that Americans can be completely safe. Yeah, we cannot be safe at least 1 or 2 years after. So that's why before we have a good vaccine and good antiviral, we should have another take measure like a social distancing and some kind of like this. So I want emphasize one more time social distancing or the hand washing and like that. So because there is no countermeasures except this. Thank you for your attending and if you have any comment or the question, please let me know.
여기 11문제가 있는데요. 교수님께서 저에게 번호를 알려주시면 제가 질문을 드리겠습니다.
네.
Okay, so that was it for our professor's presentation, and we will be reading 3 questions from the one we have received.
먼저 이거 5번 한번 천상과 판골린에 대해서 좀 얘기할까요?
Okay. The question is, the new SARS-CoV-2 is related to the Pangolian coronavirus. Do we know exactly where it came from or how the spillover occurred?
Yes, thank you for your good questions. Yeah, the fact is that the transmitting host, like a civet cat from the SARS or the camel from the MERS, the COVID-19 is not discovered completely. But many candidates existed, like a pangolin and some snake. But now there is no good evidence compared to the SARS or the MERS, but the pangolin is the most promising candidate. But until now, we cannot fulfill the cohort postulate about the transmission from the pangolin to the human. So that's why so many researchers want to find the real transmitting host from the wildlife, not confirmed yet. Yeah. 다음에 6번 하죠, 6번.
The next question is, if WHO was able to predict the pandemic of pneumonic disease 3 months before COVID-19, was there any possible way they could prevent this current situation?
Yeah, absolutely not. We cannot prepare, but we cannot decrease the case dramatically if we actively prepare some diagnostic. Because this is can have infection with a clinical sign. If we have a very strict diagnostic and pick out the infections and isolate the patient, we can decrease dramatically of the patient numbers. But at the first time, some countries have no good preparation for making the diagnostic system. So that's why this virus can be spread so fast. And now it's a very, very difficult situation to control the virus. So as a summary, the answer, even we know the pandemic, we cannot block the infection of this, but we can, with the good preparation, we can have a dramatically decrease the number of the patient. 마지막 하나는 요거 할게요. 신종 바이러스는 백신을 왜 개발하기 어려운가?
The last question for him is, why is it difficult to develop vaccine towards newly discovered virus?
Yeah, actually, as a student of a College of Veterinary Medicine, please keep in mind, the vaccine development is a very, very long journey, because I want to say that the vaccine without protection is okay, but the vaccine is not safe, is not okay. You understand? Because the vaccine is inoculated to the human or animals, so the process is very, very strict. And also we call the vaccine is the flower of the regulated science. So, you know, understand regulation science, because if like a new drug, the vaccine we should prepare so many documents about efficacy and the immunogenicity, safety, and the stability. So many documents. So that's why we make easily the vaccine against the new emerging disease. The period is so long time. So, but however, the COVID-19 is a very rarely situation. So every vaccine development, we takes at least 10 years. But because this situation is so severe, so maybe 3 or 4 years, we can shorten the period by the half or the 3 or 4 years period. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Dr. Song Des-Hop. And we will now end our session here. Thank you, all of the IVSA members who have listened to us. And the final code for this session is GR8YKO. I will repeat one more time. It's GR number 8, alphabet YKO. Thank you everyone who has joined us. We will now end this meeting. Thank you.
고맙습니다.
감사합니다.
도움이 됐어야 되는데.
댓글창 지금 난리 났어. 너무
Helen.
Helen, are you still in there?
Helen.
Helen?
Salsa, can you repeat the code?
Yes, of course, of course. Okay, I will repeat the code. 1 second. GR8YKO. That's the code. I think everyone's got it, okay. Thank you, Irene.
You're welcome. So, okay guys, we are at the end of the first session of day 2. So stay tuned for the second session later at 3 p.m. GMT plus 7. We will meet you there again. Bye guys.